Hey everybody, I'm Bob Bakert with Jazz Guitar Today, and we are here with Robben Ford.
Hello.
Unbelievable. So are you in Paris right now? Is that where you're at?
Yeah, I'm in Paris for sure. Yeah.
I love it. Well, let's talk about that. I mean, I want to bring people up to speed with what you're doing. You
hmm
got so many cool things going on, and a little bit of what I want to talk about. I see you're playing a new PRS guitar. We want to talk about you're doing a tour with Eric Clapton coming
Well,
up.
I'm doing 3 shows with Eric in Italy.
That's very, very cool. I
hmm
want to talk to you a little bit about your whole this is probably the biggest thing. The whole California guy moves to Nashville, now living in Paris.
Yeah,
You're the existential Robben Ford, if you will. So that's probably the
ubiquitous.
biggest yeah, that for sure. So that's probably the biggest part of what I want to kind of get into. And that is, you're born and raised in Northern California.
hmm
And you've been obviously played in New York. You did all your history is well documented. I mean, you have your own Wikipedia and the whole nine yards. People want to know, they can find out that. But I remember talking to you last time we talked. You had just moved to Nashville,
hmm
and now we're talking, and you've only been in Paris for maybe 6 months.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, 6 months. So I'm keeping up. I'm keeping
All
up.
right. Thank
So
you.
tell us about what's going on, brother.
Wow. Oh man, that's a big subject.
I know it. Well, that's why I wanted to talk to you because you got a lot of fans out there, and they're gonna go say, "Man, he was there, he was there, he was there. Now he's here."
Yeah. Michael McDonald once said, "No grass grows under Robin Ford's feet."
You
I was
gotta
really
love that.
surprised when he said that. I'd never heard anyone say anything like that to me before, but it was like, wow, I guess you're right. I have
Very
lived a
cool.
lot of different places, and indeed, it seems to come with the package. I spent a long time, though, living in Ojai, California. I was
Right.
there for like 30 years,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of moving around before that, and I seem to be doing a lot of moving around since. 30 years, that sounds a bit much in Ojai. It was probably, yeah, close.
Yeah. But that's
And of
that,
course,
that's
traveling the world during that period of time.
yeah. But that does that feel? I mean, when you think of home, is that home?
No?
No.
Yeah, I must say that I've never really felt settled down. And that probably has a lot to do with just the touring life. And
Right.
in fact, that period of time, when I moved to Ojai, California, I moved there from LA, and I moved to LA from New York. Um, and I moved to New York from San Francisco. So that period of time was when my career really, had kind of taken off as
Right.
a world traveling, recording, touring musician was at that time. For me, Ojai was beautiful. I mean, I had a beautiful home there. It's a lovely town, in a beautiful valley. So for me, it was sort of like uh, a wellness center.
Right. There where
I'd
you
come
went.
off the road and I'd go
Where
to
you
the
went.
wellness center, and then I would go back on the road.
Oh, I'm not gonna use the word rehab, but boy, I want to. You know what I'm saying? You can come
Well,
off the road, kind
no,
of
I
glue.
was a little better than that.
Well, you know what I mean. You glue yourself.
Yeah.
I was using it
Oh, for sure.
metaphorically, not literally. So
Absolutely. I
yeah,
mean, wow. I would rejuvenate there, and then I'd
yeah,
go back out.
amazing. So you did that, and then you what? Remind us all what happened that you decided you wanted to go to Nashville.
Well, um, my time in Ojai was clearly up for me. I
Hmm.
was trying to get off the road.
Right.
And what I really wanted to do was just be in an environment where I could be creative and not have to move around.
Right.
Ojai was not that. Once again, that was the retreat. And Los Angeles, I never in my life enjoyed, living in Los Angeles or even working there. Not really. I lived there before I moved to New York for a few years. I said San Francisco, but I moved from San Francisco back to LA for a couple of years.
Right.
And I'd always wanted to live in New York City, and it was like, I just make these moves at certain points. It's like time's up, and so I split and I went, and I was in New York for 4 years. Then came back to LA, and it worked for me for a couple of years. I signed my record deal with GRP at that time, and the Blue Line was finally gelling as a band.
Right.
And
love that band, by the way.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And we cut our first record while I was living in LA. And right after the riots, the Rodney King riots in Los Angeles happened. It was kind of coincidental. My wife and I had planned on moving to Ojai at some point after coming out from New York to LA.
Right.
And so that was kind of coincidental, but it was also sort of telling. I wanted to get out of Los Angeles. As I say, never really liked it, never vibed with it, as a place to be. And so, made that move to Ojai. And so again, my career just really sort of started taking off as a world traveler during that period of time. Moving to Nashville was, I was done. I didn't want to do the road thing anymore. I really didn't. Still don't. And I do it as little as possible at this point. And my now ex-wife, God bless her, she wouldn't budge. And things weren't so great between us in any case. And I'm like, I'm not doing anything here. I don't want to do anything there. And I want to do stuff,
Right.
And so I just said, look, I'm going to Nashville. We'll see what happens. But I gotta go,
Yeah.
I had been visiting Nashville off and on for about 3 years prior to moving there. And it was just such a wonderful open door.
Right.
I got so much love there. It was a beautiful thing, and easy to meet people. And it was just fantastic, So I went. And it was going along very well. And then COVID hit. And everything shut down, as we all know.
Yeah.
When it cleared up, when it started clearing up, I'm like, I just didn't have any more juice for the place,
Right.
I didn't want to reboot my Nashville experience. And I've wanted to live in France for many, many years. And finally it was like, let's go. It's time.
Well, you picked a good spot, but anyway, so keep going. So you just that was it. You just got that wanderlust and out the door. And
I mean, it's really not so much wanderlust. I've been coming, of course, to Europe.
Poor choice of terms. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was more like lifestyle change,
Yeah.
Which is what happened in all of those cases. It was like, I need to do something else right now. Otherwise, I'm going to stagnate, Every one of these moves has been that. It's like the energy is no longer in the same place, I can't even believe how well, I can't say that, because I can see how someone would get, comfortable. I've never gotten comfortable. I've never, like, somehow that hasn't worked, it's always, there's like, this is now done, and now it's clearly time to do something else. And it happens time and again throughout my life. It's like,
And when it happens for you, it happens not only artistically but geographically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's very true. That's
yeah.
very well said.
Oh,
Mhm.
hey, what the hell? I majored in, very well said. Um, so, so I'm gonna tell you something. I hope you take this right. I guess I've known you now. We started talking for about 4 years. About 4 years ago, I think this
Mhm.
first time I ever interviewed you was about 4 years
Yeah.
ago. And I've met you a couple of times in person, just briefly, but you were
Mhm.
backstage and you were, you had like all kinds of people wanting to talk, So I was like, yeah, hey, Robin, go see, bye. Um, but there is a discernible, notable difference in your demeanor. You look happy.
Oh, that's nice of you to say.
You
I
do.
appreciate that.
You look happy. You always look like that you had a lot of stress going on.
Mm.
And I noticed it when I was watching some of the videos that are out with you recently. You're playing when you're in, over in the EU, over in Europe. That man, your energy is just lighter and brighter, and you just look like you're having a good time and smiling and just cutting up, and you just look, Robin. You look happy. What can I tell you? So
Well, thank you. A lot of that has to do with my relationship
well,
with my girl Kelly, and it, it's a beautiful thing, and we're incredibly alike. I mean, not to get too
no,
into it, it's so personal, but at the same time, you know,
well, happy is good.
what's that?
Happy is good.
Yeah, happy is good, and it's she and I are on the same page.
Right.
She's always wanted to live in Europe, as well. We both speak a little French. We're both Sagittarius. We both have Leo moon. I mean, there's so many things, that are simpatico about us that it's incredible, and it is a wonderful thing, and I'm very happy to have met her, and like we can take this journey together, and we have a blast. We just do. We just have a blast all the time, and she helps me, with my business, like
Right.
the Robben Ford Guitar Dojo. I mean,
Yeah.
she's a 50% partner, man. She makes this thing, she makes that happen. Really, I'm the product, but she delivers it.
But it seems like also it seems to be informing your music. It
Hmm.
seems that your joy seems to be, you seem to be it seems to be somehow infusing itself in your music, even though you're playing a lot, obviously playing the blues. But man, you look like you're having fun with that. You look like you're, I don't know. It's a very cool thing, and some of the stuff that you're doing, you've always been interesting rhythmically as well as a single note line stuff. But some of the stuff you're doing is like, okay, that is, fuck. I mean, excuse my language. Excuse my language. But it's just playful.
Hmm.
I guess the word that's coming to my mind is playful. I mean, you're playful in your playing, and
Hmm.
it's really, really cool. And so when you get a guy like you know, um,
Having fun.
you are, after all, Robben Ford. I mean, you can't get away from that. You are who you are, and
Hmm.
you're having fun, and you're playful, and you're really enjoying, you know, the art that you create, man. That's pretty serious stuff, man. That's really cool. It's a joy for me to watch.
Well,
It's
thank
really
you.
cool. You're welcome. So getting back into this, let's talk about your new guitar, because I wasn't planning on that. I usually don't talk about gear, but I know how serious you are about your instruments, and how you want them and how you like them and all that kind of stuff. And so I was when I saw you playing at the PRS and the gig in Helsinki. I thought, okay, well, that's new, that's different.
Hmm.
Because most of the time I'm used to seeing you playing one of, like something that's old,
Vintage. Yeah.
vintage, yeah, vintage thing, and
I have a tendency to still, cling to the vintage because it's such a, you know, uh, personally resonant, experience playing,
Right.
vintage guitars. They just can't be beat. It's not possible in terms of their comfortableness in a certain way and sound. But all of the vintage instruments, every one of them, has just little quirks. You
Right.
know, it's
Yeah.
that kind of thing. It's like having a vintage car.
Yeah.
I guess, perhaps. I mean, it's just, you're going to have to fix something, every 6 months.
A 65 XKE is like this when it's running.
Exactly. But it's a little different. The scenario is a
I
little
know.
bit different. But, with the guitars, because you can never fix it.
Right.
With the guitar, you can never fix it. You're
Right.
always dealing with it, and it's always great too.
Yeah.
There's both those things are rubbing up against each other, and you just have to deal. At least with the instruments that I have, and especially if you play music that sort of demands a different instrument.
Right.
I think if a guy's got the Les Paul or the anything, quite
Right.
honestly, and like just does that, my telly, it could be that guitar if
Right.
I did one thing, but I don't. I do a
Right.
variety of things, and I need a variety of things. So
Right.
that's why, and that I've wanted to have like an instrument that I just felt I can play this thing, And I'm
Right.
really hoping that the PRS turns into that guitar, and physically it does. It's there. That's awesome.
Well,
It'll
it's a
just be
big
fun.
it's a big deal that the wood, if you will, is there, and you got that dialed in, neck carve,
Hmm.
fretwork, all that kind of thing, and that the heel joint, everything is, it's acoustically, it's giving you, I mean, all the stuff that we talk about with guitars.
Yeah, it speaks actually.
That's a big deal.
It is. Yeah.
It's a big freaking deal because if it doesn't sound to me, if a guitar doesn't sound good acoustically, even a solid body guitar, if it doesn't, if it doesn't do something acoustically,
Hmm.
not plugged in, it's not going to do anything good plugged in. It just ain't going to happen.
Probably not.
Yeah.
The things
But
that are wrong with even an electric guitar acoustically, wherein it doesn't produce a good sound, are also potentially fixable. They
I would
are.
agree with that.
I think
Yeah.
electric guitars are real funny that way. They're electric guitars, and the machinery is different. You know,
Hmm.
so I think there's a lot of potential. Even in a cheap guitar. David Lindley would be maybe the best example of that. He takes Dan Electros. I mean, those things are shit. Pardon my French.
No.
Old ones. And
Yeah.
he dials them in to let them
Right.
produce,
Right.
what they have. And
Well, Jack Pearson is famous for playing an off the shelf Squire, like $150 guitar.
there you go.
And and he makes, it's whatever makes it work. So but you're working with, obviously you're working with Paul and all the guys over there, and they're so into it. You couldn't find any more a better
Unbelievable.
team. They're fastidious about every little nook and cranny.
Yes.
Well, that's very, very cool. Um, so what's up for you for, what musically, what would you say, is there a current direction versus, is there a future direction? Is there, where are you at musically? Because you seem to always kind of quasi reinvent yourself, if you will.
Hmm.
And what are you into now? Because at one point in time, last time we talked, you had been doing, prior to when we're talking, you've been doing a lot of records where it was, no, really no vocals. You weren't doing a lot of vocal, and then you were doing a lot of songwriting when you were in Nashville, and
Mhm.
you're into the whole vocal thing. And then, and so you're always kind of working that through. So what are you into now? What's the latest direction for you? Doing.
Well, indeed, like the last real serious creative period for me
Hmm.
over the last couple of years,
Hmm.
uh, I was very much into instrumental bag and playing the
Hmm.
guitar and writing for the guitar, writing instrumental music. I did those two records with Bill Evans.
Hmm.
And by the way, today, the 30th,
Right.
That record has just been released today.
Wow.
Yeah, with Bill Evans, me, Daryl Jones on bass, and Keith Carlock on drums. It's
Love
called
Keith.
Common Ground. So that just came out today, and I still have kind of a hangover from that.
Hmm.
I spent a lot of years writing songs because that's what I wanted to get good at, having focused
Hmm.
on the guitar for so many years and, leading my own band. I always wanted to play my own music. I didn't want to be a cover band,
Right.
no matter how good the songs are or the music. So I've been writing a lot for many years now. And so it was really a refreshing thing for me to get back into the instrumental thing. And I've still been kind of doing that, like not to pump the guitar dojo, but the dojo it's all about the guitar, and
Right.
that has been cool. It's like, all
Yeah.
right, yeah, let's see what else I can find on the guitar, and so that's the phase that I've been in now for about 3 years, I would say, and since coming over here, I'm still in this passage. You know, it's very
Hmm.
interesting. I'm opening these shows for Eric Clapton in Italy, uh, in Bologna for 2 nights, the 9th and 10th, and in Milan on the 12th.
Hmm.
And this is really interesting for me. It's a 30-minute slot, to open for Eric, right? So I'm like, all right, you know, what am I going to
And
play?
exactly. Let me see. I've got a 45, 50-year career or whatever it's been. I've got all
Oh,
this
I
music
don't,
and
I don't even think about the old music, and
yeah, but I'm gonna say, what am I gonna play? What best represents me in front of this crowd for 30 minutes?
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
And you know, in thinking about that, it's going to be a vocal set.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like that. That's actually what they want to hear.
Right.
An audience doesn't want me to come out there and play 30 minutes of instrumental music.
Probably not.
I
No.
don't think so. Maybe Steve Vai. People would love
Yeah.
to hear Steve Vai do 30 minutes of instrumental music. But not me. My thing is it's too subtle. It's too much about a journey. Within the music in a way that I think is quite different. I don't do the virtuoso explosion. It's not my
Right.
thing.
Right.
I
Yeah.
care. I let the other people play. It's like
Right.
it's all about a musical journey, and I like that to play out over a lengthy period of time. So if
Right.
I only have 30 minutes, I have to go out there and really lay it down.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's going to be a vocal set. I think I'm going to play one instrumental from my last album, Pure. It's a song called "Go."
Hmm.
And it's a very rocking, upbeat thing, and so that's always cool. But I'm
Yeah.
going to go out there and sing, and this is kind of telling to me. If I'm going to present myself to an audience, I do find myself doing a vocal set. With depending on how much time we have, I might play 3 instrumentals. But that is interesting for me at this period in time, and because I haven't really had any inspiration for writing new songs with lyrics. Songs like that hasn't been up for me, and it would be interesting to see if that is rekindled. I don't know. I just don't know. So this is what I mean. I'm in a passage here. You know.
I this is just, I'm just gonna give you I like it when you sing.
Well, thank you, and
Yeah,
I
I
hear
really
that.
do. Your speaking voice is still young. It's
I
very
know.
young.
I sound like I'm 16.
Yeah, I mean, you don't sound any different than, well, maybe a little different, but
A
not much
little.
different. Yeah, not much different than you did when you were, doing VCR tapes, back in the day. I mean,
Yeah.
you still your
It's true.
voice is still very young, and that's because you use it, saying you blah 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 blah, and whatever it is, you're not abusing it or something, but your voice is still young, and I'm old school enough that I like it when I see a guy, BB King, sings a few words, plays some licks, sings a few words, plays some licks. I mean,
Yeah.
Eric himself,
Oh,
he's
that's what he does.
yeah, he plays and sings,
Yeah.
and I love those guys that play and sing. Stevie Ray Vaughan, play and sing. I could go on and on and on.
Mhm.
And I like that you do that, man. Because it doesn't hinder your creativity on your playing and your single note line stuff and your rhythmic stuff and all of that. It's just another voice. So I dig it. I dig it. So I would be that person in the audience that would be glad that you were doing a vocal set.
Yeah. Thank you.
And I like to hear. I mean, when you did the thing in Nashville, the little Walter thing you did in Nashville at Third and Lindley. I mean, you sang a little bit on that, but you and Pat pretty much played a lot. And
Oh,
I
that was
and
because he was there,
yeah, and I dug that. By the way, I told him hello for
Thank you.
you as you asked me, and he said all the things you would expect him to say. Yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah,
you tell Robin I said hi. Oh yeah.
that's sweet.
Do you know
Great
that
addition.
he did not know that you were gone from Nashville? And he I think he just about shed a tear over that. He
Oh, that's
he was
very sweet.
very, very sad. If you get a chance, you should probably bring him up and say, "Hey, man," you know. But
That's nice.
yeah,
Thank
it
you.
was very, very nice. Anyway, so I like it that you sing and play. I kind of like that guitar gunslinger Jimi Hendrix. I mean, he sang. All those guys sang, and
Yeah.
I kind of I'm that old school kind of guy. I sort of dig it when you do that. So
Mhm.
I think it's cool that you're doing it. I also think it's cool that you're opening for Eric, because I remember you tell a great story about how you were about to do a festival and you were doing your sound check and they were playing Eric Clapton tunes in the
Mm,
in the background, and you're quoting, and see, I'm going to paraphrase it, probably said, "Man, I might as well go home. That's everything I'm going to play tonight."
that's right.
I was like,
I remember that so vividly. I'm like, "What am I doing here?"
So I remember that pretty well. But I dig it. I think it's pretty cool. So here's a question. As we get kind of, we can wrap this up pretty soon. You probably want to do something else with your evening, but money be damned. You got all the money in the world. Okay,
No, I don't. But
trillion,
anyway, go on.
trillions of dollars have been put
Oh,
into your coffers for one purpose, and
are
you
you
can
saying
make
if I had?
no, 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 no. I'm saying
Because I
this.
don't, but
No, I know. This is the scenario, okay?
all right.
Somebody walks up to you and says, "I am gonna give you an unlimited budget for you to create the creative project of your dreams."
Oh.
You know?
Yeah, I would enjoy doing just an expanded band and having a horn section, having someone write really great arrangements,
Right,
for that horn section to my songs and my arrangements of the band, that I
right.
can do. I can do horn arrangements to some degree, uh, but somebody really good, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
and just an expanded band. I've never been able to have a large group, you
Wouldn't that
know.
be something?
Yeah, I,
Yeah,
I would enjoy having a large group. And I would also like playing for a lot of people, but that wouldn't be my decision. Somebody else would have to say,
yeah,
they
that
would
is a
have to want to hire that band.
right. We want to see. Well, that would be
Otherwise,
the
I'd have
thing.
to be a promoter, you
Yeah,
know.
but no, we don't want to do that to you. No, we don't want to do that to you. So, all
I
right,
just like to have a larger band.
so you've got yeah, we could, I get it. Would you incorporate the string section at all, or
Well, you can't use strings for more than
couple of,
two or
yeah,
three
right,
songs.
right, yeah.
So it's
Otherwise,
kind of not worth it.
yeah, but an expanded band, kind of like,
Yeah, large group.
yeah, that would be very, very cool. Obviously I could definitely see that happening, and
It would be a blast. I mean, I would just have a blast.
well, hopefully it's someday that'll happen for you, because that's very doable. I mean, that is a very doable thing.
Not as doable as it might seem.
No, I know, but it's not like, well, I want to hire the London Philharmonic to come in and we're gonna,
Oh,
I
no.
mean, yeah,
No.
you know what I'm saying. That's a
Yeah.
very,
But
that's
over here
something.
in Europe, it's really quite something, like it's kind of playing out as I had envisioned it. You know, I
Yeah.
I get calls for things, that just like, we'll pick you up, we'll put you down here, you just play the guitar, we'll give you some money and good money, and then
Yeah.
we'll take you home. It's like that's kind of happening. I've got 3 different big band, European big band things, and that's a blast. Like that's one of those things that's just a blast. Where I've had a couple of different arrangers write big band arrangements for my songs, and I've done this in Denmark and in Germany,
Right.
and now it's expanding to Switzerland, Helsinki, big bands. Like these things are happening.
Yeah.
So it's like, I walk out and I'm in front of a big band playing my tunes, and I call it BB King for a day.
I love it, man. I love it. Yeah. I love it.
So that's cool, and
Yeah.
that is something that I could see.
BB King for a day.
Yeah, that's something that I could see play out very easily if I was a multimillionaire.
Well, there you go.
But quite
Man,
honestly, the big band thing, it's a blast. And,
yeah.
it is. It's like, you're just the man. You walk out in front of a big band, and it's like, it's cool. But I
I would
prefer smaller group with a 5-piece horn section, 2 keyboard players, a rhythm guitar player.
oh yeah.
That would be a blast for me.
Yeah. 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 And it fits you so well too. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, that would be really, really awesome. Well, listen, man, this has been great. It's been
Well,
really great, and I feel really good about it that we got the chance to do that. So, just to let people know, all the different things that you do, you got Robben Ford's Guitar Dojo,
mhm,
which is easy to find. Just if you Google the
mhm.
dojo comes up as one of the possibilities.
Nice.
So that's really, really cool. You got all the True Fire stuff going on.
Mm.
You got a really cool merch section in your on your website. And it must be Kelly doing that, I'm sure.
That is Kelly, man.
Yeah, and you got you know what whoever's doing your graphics, I guess it's Kelly or she's
Kelly.
who's ever doing the graphics is doing a great job because it's not easy to come up with something that's
I
unique
know.
looking and did a great job. So you got the dojo, you got the live gigs, um, you got the recordings with Bill Evans that's just coming out.
Yeah.
You're happy. Yeah, you're happy and you're in Paris and that doesn't suck. You got a
No.
great relationship. Man,
Yeah.
Robin, you are like you're there, man. You are
Things could be
there.
things could be worse.
Self-actualization. Robin Ford. I love it.
You got to
Great,
stick
great,
your neck out. You
great.
got to
Yes,
take
you do.
chances.
That's you do. Well, listen, man. Is there anything you want to say as we close this out, or
Hmm. Well, you know, I always have to think about guitar players,
oh yeah,
and musicians, and so yeah. I mean, to the extent that a person is able, it's 2 things: trust the music. If you're a professional musician, trust the music,
hmm
trust your music,
hmm
and take chances.
that sounds great to me. Well, listen, this is Bob Bakert for Jazz Guitar Today here with the great Robin Ford. And it's a thrill. Well, you are the great Robin Ford. It's a
Ah,
thrill. And man, God bless you. Thanks, Robin.
all right, Bob.
All right, man. Take care,
Pleasure.
buddy. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Bye bye now.
Bye.